our opinion on the imposition of a foal levy based on advertised value of the nomination fee of a stallion. It means when the actual fee is paid is less than the advertised price, and are the breeders being unfairly penalised?
And can I thank the Deputy for raising this issue. I know we had a brief discussion on it in committee a number of days ago. Horse Racing Ireland is a commercial state body established under the Horse and Greyhound Racing Act 2001 and is responsible for the overall administration, promotion and development of the horse racing industry. The current foal levy scheme, which was introduced in 2000 on a statutory basis, applies to all thoroughbred foals registered in Ireland. The proceeds of the levy are used by Horse Racing Ireland to help fund the Irish Equine Centre, which is hugely important in my view, the Irish Thoroughbred Breeders Association and Irish Thoroughbred Marketing. These organisations provide key support structures to the Irish thoroughbred breeding industry. The foal levy is a relatively small element of the overall cost of keeping and covering a mare, and for reasons of practicality is based on the advertised nomination fee rather than the actual fee paid. By way of example, the lowest foal levy band incurs a fee of €35 and the second band €50. Most small breeders fall into one of these two bands. The highest band for stallion fees in excess of 30,000 is €650. All coverings of up to 15,000. At coverings of up to 15,000, the differences between the foal levy bands are a maximum of €50. Breeders who pay an actual nomination fee that is less than the advertised nomination fee used to determine the foal levy band have already achieved a real saving. The associated levy should be considered in the context of the overall cost of breeding and keeping a foal. There is currently a very high compliance level, I should say, with the foal levy scheme, and it's been revised from time to time to ensure fairness in the application process.
Thank you.
Deputy, there is a foal levy committee which does review the rates, the bands and the structure of the levy on an annual basis, and there's quite a lot of consultation on that.
I'll come back to the Minister.
I'll come back with some more detail in a second.
Yeah, well, Minister, I understand there's around 7,000 registered breeders, and 70 to 80% of those would be 2 or 3 mares. Be small, a lot of them would be small farmers and so forth like that. And would it not be far more equitable and fair that if somebody was to be invoiced and pay the levy on the invoice regarding the actual cost of covering the mare, whereas you have the advertised fee, which would be maybe 2 or 3 times greater than what a small breeder would be able to negotiate with the stallion owners and so forth. And would that not be comparable to other aspects of the farming, agricultural enterprises and so forth, where levies are paid on invoice for sale?
Thank you, Minister.
Yeah, I mean that's not an unreasonable suggestion, and it has been discussed. But just to get, and I'll come back to it now. But just so that people are clear on this, right? Small breeders in general operate at the lower end of the market in terms of foal levy, right? Over 30% of foals, that's 2,346 last year, paid the levy at either €35 or €50, whereas 27% of the income for 2014 came from just 616 foals. So, and actually, the last time it was reviewed, the people who were paying at the higher end actually had their foal levy increased slightly, and the people on the lower end had the foal levy decreased slightly. So we are trying to take into account the fact that actually there is an affordability issue here. But in the context of, of keeping a mare, breeding a mare, and developing a foal for market, €35 or €50 isn't going to be a big factor one way or the other.
Thank you, Minister.
But the issues here are, and the reason why they're actually looking at the advertised value is that it's much easier to calculate. There's much less paperwork involved. Stallions are advertised at a certain value, and it's on the basis of that advertised value that the foal levy is calculated for administrative and accuracy reasons. It's an awful lot easier.
Thank you, Minister. Would it be correct in saying other EU member states don't pay foal levies? And how would that if that is the case, how would that how could that be judged in relation to the competition law and so forth? I have the list here. I assume we came from the department. If you look at the percentages of the fee, say the higher end you're down to 0.14%, and at the other end you're 3.33% of the fee. So you have huge discrepancies in relation to the percentage side of it. I don't accept that it would be far more difficult if to invoice, compared to the present situation, to invoice the cost of covering the mare at the negotiated price. I don't see how that could be any more difficult.
Thank you, Minister, to conclude.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, whether or not other countries have foal levies or not, I mean, you might ask the question whether other countries get €60 million a year for the horse racing industry in a horse and greyhound fund either. Like Ireland has its own structure in terms of supporting the racing industry. I'm not sure there's any other country in the world, actually, that prioritises horse racing as much as we do. There are other countries in the world that have more wealth linked to horse racing in terms of private input, in terms of sponsorship and so on, because they have bigger audiences, like Britain and France, for example. And they have links to betting tax and all the rest of it. But we have a very supportive financial model for horse racing and greyhound racing in Ireland, which has actually kept the Irish thoroughbred industry the dominant force globally that it remains. 40% of thoroughbreds in the European Union that are exported come from Ireland, and we continue to be a hugely successful breeder of top thoroughbred horses, and all of the figures would show that at the moment in terms of sales this year and so on. So this is a small part of that big industry. I think it's a small part that we should